Perfect. There's no house. Down this floor.
they have something up here.
Okay.
You can do whatever you need.
So you're thinking,
Line them for 3 up here.
oh,
if
okay.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Now, are you bringing a picture board at all? A picture board in?
A picture? No, we don't have a picture. We weren't supposed to bring one, I don't know. Tim has one.
Well, I can move the other one that we have in the hallway if that works.
Yeah, because we don't have one in here.
So I'll move that.
Yeah, maybe that'd be nice.
I was shooting that.
Right. Yeah, it's just kind of the angle of the. You can just see what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to be so bossy.
No, no, no.
I know what it's. You get it at all angles.
Yeah.
So.
He's wearing a skirt.
I would think here, last time I did it, was
Think inside.
well, if they're opening this other door.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry? It stays open? So even at the front, right, so you have your space for people coming in and out. I'm not here. No, I'm not here. I'm here, so it's-
You have the right number. But he told me in my son, like, I'll just take over mine.
And I feel sorry because it's hurts.
So it's I'm giving you an hour, an hour.
Till 11.
I just gone back from the wedding. From the wedding.
Where's Veronica?
And really play her. And the tackle?
We're supposed to be outside.
Oh, no? Are you okay? Oh.
So. I have him for 2 years, like his benefits to none. That's still okay. He's in
Actually have to take a thousand.
everybody else is in
You have it?
So what you're saying is my name doesn't exist. I have to re-register. And now I have it.
Oh, sorry.
14, so now just when you think
So where's last night? What are you doing for lunch after?
I gotta go.
Weary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to skies. Oh, was a step rung on the port, echo on the starboard bow. Glory of youth glowed in his soul. Where is that glory now? Sing me a song of the last that is gone. Say, could that last be I? Weary of soul, she sailed on a day over that sea to sky. Give me again all that was there. Give me the sun that shone. Give me the eyes, give me the soul, give me the love that's gone. Sing me a song of a last that is gone. Say, could that last be I? Weary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky. Billow and breeze, islands and seas, mountains of rain and sun. All that was good, all that was fair, all that was near is gone. Sing me a song of a last that is gone. Say, could that last be I? Weary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
I drove my tractor through your haystack last night. I threw me pitchfork at your dog to keep quiet. Now something's telling me that you're avoiding me. Come on now, girlie, you've got something I need. But I've got a brand new combine harvester and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I've got 20 acres, and you've got 43. I've got a brand new combine harvester, and I'll give you the key. I'll stick by you, I'll give you all that you need. We'll have twins and triplets, I'm a man built for speed. And you know I love you, darling, so give me your hand. But what I want the most is all your acres of land. I've got a brand new combine harvester, I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together in perfect harmony. I've got 20 acres, and you've got 43. I've got a brand new combine harvester, I'll give you the key. For 7 long years I've been alone in this place. sleep in the kitchen, it's a proper disgrace. Now they clean it up, will you change your mind? I'll give up drinking scruffy and I'll murder a night. I could have you come my harvester and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's live together in perfect harmony. I've got 20 acres, and you've got 43. I've got a brand new combine harvester, and I give you the key. Weren't we the grandparent at that farmer Dan dance? I wore license of fair oil, I had holes in me pants. With your new Sunday dress, with your perfume so grand, we had our photos taken, and you're holding my my harvester, I'll give you the key. Now the beer boat past our 50s, I think that you and me should stop this gallivanting. Ah, girl, you marry me. I've got a brand new combine harvester, I'll give you the key. Yeah, I've got a brand new combine harvester, I'll give you the key.
Hello, all me mates and hens. First of all, thank you all for coming. It means a lot to Kim and the family and everybody. Some have traveled a really far distance. Jake and Christine obviously come from Scotland and Andrew's come from Toronto just for this, and it's much appreciated. Kim asked me to do the eulogy. I was a little overwhelmed because here's a man who made a stranger a friend and a friend part of the family. How do you do a eulogy for that? And I told Kim seemed a little bit much, and she just looked at me and smiled and said, "Don't fuck it up." To know Allan is to love Allan. Before I really get started, I want to assure everyone that Allan Young had no part in the maintenance or repair work in this building. Nor did he have a hand in the actual construction of it. So we can all be comforted that the building itself is not likely going to fall down today. To be fair, Allan had a hand in a lot of repair work over the years. He would always volunteer, first one to step up, what a great guy, and immediately he would call someone who knew how to do that work and go with them. Neil Biggerstaff was frequently duped into these projects. 6-7 months later, Allan would remind you that how he fixed your sink or hot water tank or did your whole house renovation. Never once did he pick up a tool, but he was always there, supervising. I was going to speak to you about the details of Allan's life, but in this small setting, everybody knows where he was born and grew up. All you had to do was check his Facebook to see how proud he was of Scotland. He was born in Overton House in Dumbarton, and legend has it that Allan said, "Hello," to the first nurse that he saw, and he just kept that going. I asked Jake what Allan was like as a child, and he said he was a little bugger. I asked him if he'd won any awards or set any records during his youth. Jake brightened up and showed that fatherly pride, and I was ready to be bowled over by all the athletic prowess that Allan showed. Jake declared, "Allan got the strap more than any person before or after him in school." And it's always good to be best at something. Allan's first job in Scotland was as a milkman. Now, I'm not saying that there's a lot of 40-year-olds in Dumbarton that have a very familiar, precocious smile and laugh as he did, but the divorce rate spiked when he held that job. Allan then joined the Royal Navy in search of adventure and travel. He found both, traveling the world on Her Majesty's most wondrous sailing vessels, and due to the fact that Allan wasn't directly responsible for the maintenance, not one of them sunk during his whole career. He and the Royal Navy parted ways amicably, and he moved to Toronto with a backpack and a smile. He ended up being the part owner of a pub called Captain Jack's in Toronto. There were a lot of police officers going there, and that's how he ended up getting the idea to apply to be a police officer. That and the bar could not seem to turn a profit while he was running it, even though Allan had multiple qualifications to run pubs. Somehow, though, after he left the bar, profits soared, though I'm not sure why, and we're sure there was no correlation. After I got asked to do this eulogy, I thought the best way to kind of do this is to talk about stories with Allan. So I called a number of people to get stories about him. Everyone, to a man or woman, laughed and said stories. Oh yeah, I've got Allan stories. Everyone has a favorite Allan's tale. Everyone. They also have stories numbered 2 to 100. Every time you were with Allan, something memorable happened. Allan was an amazing raconteur, and you couldn't help but get wrapped up in each story, feeling you were there with him, laughing with him. And that's the thing with him. As soon as you met him, you just knew, here's a guy I want to be close to. Here's a man that has a zest for life that is unparalleled. That grin and laugh made you feel like you were being invited into an amazing club. You'd walk away from Allan hoping that you saw him again very soon, because life was always an adventure with him. Every person that met Allan knew that they had made a friend for life. In Allan's house, there's a wall hanging that says, to have a friend, you have to be one. And Allan was a friend to everyone. I could and would go on about his smile, his laugh, that damn grin he had on his face when he knew that he just said something funny, but you were trying to translate it in your head from Scottish to English. He knew it wasn't his fault that nobody bloody spoke proper English around here, and he would get so mad while he waited for you to figure out what the hell he just said to you. Everyone told me a story. Everyone. Unfortunately, there's only a few that I can share with you, because most of these stories could not be told, as we don't need any investigations coming after this celebration of life. Allan joined the Toronto Police Service in the year 2000. One of his partners was Darren Lang. Darren told me the following story about one of the first times that he worked with Allan. They were just getting to know each other, and they were working a plainclothes detail. Allan was probably wearing 2 earrings, like a pirate. There was a drug target that took off on Young Street, and Darren started chasing the car with Allan as the passenger. This car was not stopping. Allan, in a tactically brilliant move, decided the only way to get this car to stop was to lean out of the passenger seat halfway and start waving his gun out the window. So Allan's got his hand out, screaming at these guys to stop like this. Darren's grabbing Allan, trying to pull him back into the car, screaming at him. Allan's saying, just get closer, just get closer. Darren saying, get the gun away. And Allan's screaming, I'm not going to shoot them, mate. I'm just going to scare them. Now, no one's saying that tactic worked, but the car did stop eventually, and Allan was able to pull the little miscreants out of the car by his ear. And we're still not sure why Allan wasn't at least a consultant on ERT training days. He had some very outside-the-box ideas. I asked Kim for her favorite story of Allan in Toronto, and she said Allan loved to tell this story to her, that there was a report of a purse snatching on Yonge Street again. And Al met up with the complainant. The woman pointed out the suspect to Allan, who happened to be sitting in a pub nearby. And he was just sitting at the bar. And Allan walked up to him and sized him up. Realized this fella was not spending a lot of time outside the gym and was no stranger to performance enhancers. Allan, as the tactically brilliant officer that he was, decided that the sneak approach would work best, and just tried to slip the handcuffs on from behind. Did not work. This man stood up with Allan holding on for dear life with one hand on his handcuff and started ragdolling Allan. Allan's partner saw what was happening and came in and jumped to try and help. And she was on the man's back. So the man, his partner's on the man's back, Allan's getting flung around, There's a bartender there. He says, "What do I do?" And Allan shouts, "Call the police!" Allan's great friend Neil Biggerstaff told me this story. Allan was a terrible gambler. Not that he had a gambling problem, he was just horrific at gambling. Couldn't win anything. But Allan was no dummy. He'd always make a deal with Neil to split all their winnings because Neil did have quite a bit of luck. But they had to agree on it first each time. It was a gentleman's bet. One night, Neil asked Allan if he wanted to split the winnings with him. Allan was too busy playing poker and kind of just shrugged Neil off. So Neil moseyed over and started playing roulette. He put a tenner on the table on 28 and 21, played 2 and 10. Neil left those numbers on and put money on 2 more, and then they came in. Allan wandered over because he could hear the crowd starting to form, and Neil ended up walking away from the table with $2,500. Allan, as you can imagine, was pretty pissed that he didn't have the time for Neil to agree to go halfers with him. Neil wanted to make it up for Allan, so he took him out to the nicest $2.99 breakfast that Allan had ever had. We know Allan, we know that deal has probably shook him to the core. Corey Johansson told me one day when Allan didn't show up to briefing, Crystal told Corey, you gotta go find out what's up with Allan. Corey drove to the apartment on Borkwin, knocked on the door, no answer. He started knocking on the door louder and louder, still no answer. He started looking around the patio and saw that there was the wedding ring boxes, the wedding ring, there was bottles of wine, beer cans everywhere. And he thought, well, they gotta be home. So he kept knocking. Eventually, Allan came to the door in his underwear, as Allan loved to do. His hair was done in a way that suggested that perhaps he hadn't had time to properly comb it, or perhaps he had recently engaged in some adult activities. Corey asked Allan if he was going to come into work. Allan looked Corey up and down, said, "Sick, mate," and closed the door. Allan once told an Abbotsford member that one of his wishes was that when he left the department, he wouldn't be forgotten. But I don't think Allan had quite a handle on the amount that he touched everyone that he came into contact with. There's no way that Allan Young could ever be forgotten. The department and the world is a little bit more gray without him in it. But we all have our memories of him, and when you close your eyes, you can still hear him laugh. When Allan met Kim, his life changed. All of a sudden, Sneakers Pub required super frequent bar checks, and this need always seemed to correlate when a certain waitress named Kim was working. Sneakers, though a great pub, is nowhere near a pub that needs any frequent bar checks or any at all. But Allan Young took great pride in making Sneakers Pub the most policed and safest bar in the world. I had the honor to witness Allan and Kim's love firsthand. To see Allan and Kim together was to watch true love in person. When Allan and Kim were staring into each other's eyes, there was nothing else seen, there was nothing else there was nothing else noticed. There could have been a bank robbery happen right in front of them, and I believe one time there was when he was on duty, but they didn't notice. They were so wrapped up in their love and each other, and that's how it should be. A while ago, Allan walked up to me and asked me, "Have you got a second, mate?" And he handed me his phone. I didn't even want to touch it. Immediately I was nervous. Allan Young's handing you his phone, you get nervous. Was just looking at this phone going to get me in trouble with the Office of the Police Complaints Commissioner? Was this a new hot tip on Bullion? A new adult relations suit that he just bought online? No, he was showing me a selfie. And thankfully, not just of him, but of Kim and him. And he had hundreds of them. The locales changed, the clothes changed, Allan's hair changed. Thankfully, it wasn't always bleach blonde. But what didn't change were the smiles. Both of them just beaming at the camera. You could tell Kim was kind of proud that Allan had figured out how to use the camera. He was pointing in the right direction. And Allan was just beaming, that smile of his. You could see how much he loved everything about the situation, where he was, and especially who he was with. But it wasn't just for selfies, those smiles. It was all the time. Kim and Allan share a love that is an inspiration. They show us how to love, and I hope you were taking notes because the lessons were free, and they were the best lesson that you will get about true love. Allan often said, and he would tell everybody, that his only regret was that he didn't meet Kim earlier in life. I hate having to wrap this up. I hate having to be up here telling you things you already know, like how amazing Allan was. This is a celebration of life. Throughout every moment of Allan's life, he was spreading joy. His attitude and outlook on life was so contagious that your spirits couldn't help but be lifted in his presence. Right now, you're all thinking of your favorite memory of Allan, and you probably have loads. And they're all different, but the one constant is in all those smiles, all those laughs, and all those good times is Allan. And that grin and that laugh. Him telling you, if I came at you with white gloves on, you'd think you're in a snowstorm. All our lives were enriched by having Allan in them. He was taken from us too soon, and you didn't realize at the time how precious your time was with him. But the times we all had with him have shaped our lives and taught us how to truly live. To know Allan is to love Allan. Melissa, you have some. So Melissa's going to come up and read some words that Kim wrote. And after that, the service is really over. Kim and I invite people to come up and share stories about Allan if they feel so inclined.
Sorry, short and sweet, but I really have to pee, so I'm gonna make it a little bit faster. All right, thank you all for being here. If you don't already know, I'm Mel. Allan was a very dear friend to me, and quite often I catch myself saying he was my big brother. I don't have any big brothers, I don't have any brothers, but what he meant to me, that's what I can only imagine. Kim wrote down a few words. She obviously wishes she could say them herself, but I'll do my best. Yeah, give me a sec. My Allan, my best friend, my husband, my soulmate. When I met Allan, I realized true love. Our adventures together were epic. We were inseparable. I will miss you popping up wherever I went, chasing me around the house with your cheeky little grin, and I'm gonna interrupt right there and say naked all the time. Texting me every 3 seconds, all your animated stories that I heard over and over again, and it was like listening to them for the very first time. You will forever be in my heart. We have met before, we have had this time, and we will meet again. You're my hero. Thanks.
So if anyone does want to come up and share any stories, that's the end of the service.
Hi. My name is Joanne Morrison, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. I drove here yesterday to be here today. I don't know Allan the way you guys do. Obviously, he was loved very much, and all I can say is that I'm a silver stacker and a bullion friend of Allan's, and Allan texted me every day for the last 4 months. This man was probably the nicest, kindest man that I've ever met over online, a stranger that I didn't know. He just took me under his wing. I had an incident where I was selling some coins online, and I had sold $8,000 worth of bullion, and I was scammed. I was out of $8,000, and Allan's immediate reaction was to help me. He called me and said, we're charging this man immediately before he went on holidays. And I could hear Kim in the background on the phone saying, come on, Allan, get off the phone. We're going on holidays tomorrow. Come on, you know, stop trying to help everybody. But he did. He helped me, and he emailed this man immediately, just wanting to get the information and help me all the way from Abbotsford. I'm here today because I don't believe that just this room is where Allan is and was, because he has friends all over the world in this community. In the Bouillon community, he made everybody laugh. I wish that I would have brought my phone up here with me, because I have so many posts. Once Allan passed away, we post on Facebook many, many things, and there was many things said about him of love and how he was helped, how he helped people, how he loved people, how he was always honest. He was so respectful. I know that in one of the posts he said to me, I love you guys so much. This is the best community in the world. Everybody's so honest and great and loving. I just have one quick bouillon story of his kindness, and that's, I was selling some bouillon online, and we do what's called waffles. So it's like an auction or like a draw. You put your name in and you pay for a spot, and if you win whatever is being auctioned off. And I had a very beautiful fractional set of silver pieces that I put up, and Allan won them. This set was worth over $200, and Allan, in a heartbeat, said, send this to my friend Remy out in Ontario, Petawawa, which, you know, nobody here would know that. Maybe Dawn. There we go. She would know Remy. And so anyways, I said, no way, this is yours. This is a big item. This is a big ticket item. He said, Joe, you send that to Remy. He's upset. Send it. I want him to have it. This is a man who just, $200, doesn't know these people in person, never met in person, and he just gave it to him, just gives it to him. That's the kindness and the generosity that this man had. And I just want to share with you that there's a bigger community out here that love Allan that you guys might not even be aware of. So thank you for letting me come today and share. I appreciate being here.
If no one has anything that they want to say, then we'll just, if everyone can start coming forward if they like, or start filtering out so that we can get a lot of the people that are outside waiting to be able to come in. I want to say thank you very much for coming.